Okay, welcome back. So this morning we have introduced Microsoft Azure Notebook as an interactive environment to learn Python programming. Okay, so let's continue from there. So start your Google Chrome and search for Azure Notebook. And from there, click on this Microsoft Azure Notebook. So by doing this, you don't have to memorize what is the URL for the Azure Notebook platform. So you log in with any of your Microsoft account, including your MPNet account or Live Mail, Hotmail account. And once you log in, you'll be able to see the list of the projects that you have. Okay, so this morning we started with list 0 to Python 2. So let's click on it. And once inside here, you'll be able to see the list of the notebooks that you already have. Okay, so these are the list of the notebooks you have. And you can see the status of this project is running. Okay, so if let's say it is not running, you can always click on this icon to run your project. Okay, so that your project will be run on one of the virtual machine hosted by Microsoft. Okay, so let's click on the second Jupyter Notebook 02 Python Basics. Okay, let's wait for it to load. Okay, so in this Jupyter Notebook, we'll introduce the input and output of Python. Okay, which means that how do you get the input from the user? How do you print the outputs to the user? Basically, it's on the screen through console. And then what are the basic data types of Python? And string, as one of the most important data type in Python, will go it goes into it in more details. Okay, so input and output. So first thing is, how do you get the output, get the input from the user? So you can ask the user for input using a Python built-in function that is called input function. Okay, so this is equivalent to the scanf in C programming. Okay, so how do you use this input? So what you can do is you can do x equals to input, and this input function takes in a optional prompt, which means that what is the message that you would like to display to the user before the user will enter its value. Okay, so for example, how old are you? Okay, and next you would like to print out this x value. Okay, print age equals to, and you can just put in x. Okay, so by doing this, remember how do you run a code cell? You do a Control Enter. So once you press Control Enter, you can see that the prompt is being shown here, which is how old are you? So this is the prompt, and the user will be given this edit text to enter his value. So let's enter 18, always 18. So press Enter. So once you press Enter, the list value 18 is going to be captured by Python and then assigned to this variable x. Okay, and the execution of this Python code is going to continue, which you will print out the value of x with this age equals to something. So age is equals to 18. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so how does this input statement work? Okay, and what is the data type of this x? So you can do a type. Okay, wait. Let's add a new cell, code cell at the bottom. Okay, so how do you add in a code cell? Press Escape to make sure you are in the command mode. So press Escape. Make sure you don't see any of the cursor that is running or blinking inside this code cell. And then now you press B for boy. And you will be able to see a new code cell that is being created for you. So inside here, we will type in type X, which is going to show us the data type of this value X. So let's press Enter. And you can see that although 18 is a numerical value, but X is a string data type. This is because for whatever the value the user have entered upon this input function, it is going to be casted as a string and then assigned to your x. Okay, so it is the output from this input statement is always a string value. Okay, so what is this input statement? So remember how we call for help or how we check the documentation of a particular function. You make use of the help function. So help and then input. When you press Enter, you can see that this is a method that asks for raw input. Okay, so you forward the raw input to the front end. So you will ask for the raw input, which means that you will ask the user for input value. And optionally it will taking a prompt. Okay, so by default this prompt is equals to nothing, empty string, which means that if let's say you do a x equals to input without any value, and you're trying to print out this enter value equals to this x. Okay, so when you press Ctrl and enter, you can see that there's no prompt, because by default the prompt is equals to empty string. Okay, and user can enter, still can enter a value, hello, and then when you press enter, this hello is going to be inside this x. That's why the printout is going to be enter value equals to hello. Okay, so what about just now? That is for the input, to capture the data input from the user. Okay, using input function. Okay, and that is equivalent to the scanf in C programming. Okay, so what about print out to the user? Okay, which is the printf in C programming. So we have used them a lot by now, which is the print function. Okay, print function. So for anything that you would like to print, you just put inside this print function, and then it will print out for you. Okay, so the same thing. Let's check out the documentation of this print function. When you do a help print, okay, Control Enter, and you will say this is the print function. Okay, and the print function taking actually more than any more input parameters. Okay, the first thing is the value, and then you follow by value dot dot dot. This dot 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 is indicating that the print function is able to take in multiple inputs. Okay, multiple inputs. So let's try. So let's create a new cell by press B, escape B, and then you will create a new cell here, new code cell here. Okay, so let's do a print hello, comma, world, comma, from, comma, Singapore. Okay, and when you press Ctrl Enter, it's going to print out all the message, all the value inside here, hello world from Singapore. And by default, you will add in a separator that is an empty string. Can you see that? A space as a separator. Where does it come from? So if let's say you recall, come back to here, you'll see a separator equals to empty space. Okay, a space character. This is how the print statement will give a separator for each of the value that you have passed in. Okay, so what if let's say I don't like the space as a separator, I like something else. So you do a separator equals to dash. Okay, and when you do a Control Enter, can you see that now the separator, it become a dash character, a dash character. Okay, and that is how you customize the output of this print function. Okay, another interesting input parameter that is called n equals to new line. Okay, what does it mean? So if let's say you have this print help, print world, okay, and print from Singapore. Okay, so when you press Ctrl Enter, you can see that all these print, each of the print statement is going to print on its individual line. Okay, this is because after each of the print statement, by default, the system is going to enter a new line. So can you see that this n character is equals to new line? Okay, so what if let's say I would like to customize this n character equals to something else? For example, I would like to print all these 3 statements in one single line. So what should I do? I'll come here and then I change this n character equals to empty space. Equals to empty space. Okay, and the last one I will just leave it as it is. So if let's say I press Ctrl and Enter, you can see that all the printout is going to be in the same line. This is because by changing the n character equals to empty space, okay, it is not going to add a new line at the bottom, new line after the print statement. That's right, the rest of the printing is going to be in the same line. Okay, so next let's look at basic data types. Okay, so Python offers a wide range of the data type to support the fast prototyping. Okay, so the basic data types are Boolean, basically it's true or false, number, basically it's integer, float, and then followed by string. Okay, and there's a more complex data type that is called collection data type, which means that that particular data type can contain multiple values. So there are quite a number of them. The first one is a list, which is a collection of ordered and changeable values. Okay, and it allows duplicate members. Okay, later we'll look into this to see what is a list. And then you have tuple, basically it's a read-owning version of the list. Okay, and then you have dictionary, which is able to hold key value pair. Okay, and next is a set, basically it's a collection of unique values. Okay, so let's look at the basic data type first. Okay, before that, let's recap. Okay, how do you check the data type of a variable? So for example, if let's say you have a variable x equals to 10, and how do you know what is the data type of this x? So when you press Ctrl Enter, you have x, and you can always do a print at type x. Okay, or you just remove the print, you don't need the print. Type x, you will say that this is a integer value. But if let's say you change this guy to be .0 and you run it again, it will become float. Okay, so what you see is that Python does not require you to declare a variable before you use it, and it does not need you to define what is the data type of the variable. Okay, so Python will always make use of the value that is being assigned to the variable to determine what is the data type for that particular variable. So if let's say you change this one to become hello, then the type is going to be str. Okay, so that is how you use type to check the data type of a variable. And next, what if let's say you would like to check what is the data type, whether a particular variable belongs to a data type or not. So you do okay, let's use back this hello, and then we do is instance x, and you check str, and that is going to give you a value of true. Okay, that indicates that this x is of instance of str. Okay, what if let's say you would like to check whether x is a data type of integer or string? Okay, then you just put in this square bracket to indicate this is a list of the data type that you would like to match for this variable x. So when you press enter, it will still okay, never mind, sorry, bad example. So this guy is only taking this. Okay, so by doing this, it's going to give you false because x is a string data type. Okay. Okay, next one is a Boolean variable. So Boolean variable can only hold true or false. Okay, true or false. So what is true or false? So if let's say you check if x at 1 is double equals to 1, the result is going to be true because 1 indeed is equals to 1. But if let's say you check whether 1 is equals to a string version of 1, it will say false because it does not equals, they don't equal because basically their data type is different. Okay, so if let's say you assign your x equals to 1 double equal 1. Okay, let's use this parenthesis to group them together, and then y equals to this. Then when you print out this x and the type of x, and you print out y and type of y, okay, you are going to get true class of Boolean, false class of Boolean. Okay, so